Capuchin TV, your Catholic identity.
Good afternoon, my dear brothers and sisters, and welcome to our program, the program that will discuss philosophy, psychology, and things that deal with our lives. I'm Father James Wangai Kafata, Rector, Consolata Institute of Philosophy. I'm a Franciscan. Today we are going to discuss the topic of ethics and basic ethical principles. Sometimes you hear people talking about this person is unethical, this person is ethical, or this person is moral, this person is immoral. And sometimes we like to ask ourselves, what are the basic principles that make somebody either ethical or unethical? And what is this that can make somebody be acceptable in the society because of the way he takes his life, or her life? First of all, I'm going to discuss 3 ethical principles. But before that, let us discuss the idea of ethics. What is ethics? Ethics is also called moral philosophy. Ethics is the discipline which is concerned with what is morally right and morally wrong, what is morally good and morally evil. So the term is also applied to any system or theory of moral values or principles. So morally good, this is morally good, this is morally bad, this is right or wrong. So although ethics has been always viewed as a branch of philosophy, it's also embracing practical nature links with many other areas. You can study ethics in anthropology, you can study ethics in biology, in economics, in history, in politics, in sociology, and also in theology. There is also ethics. But there is also what we call situational ethics, ethics that are applied to particular people. You can say the ethics of the journalist, the ethics of the doctors, the ethics of the politicians, if there are. Yet ethics remain distinct from such disciplines that I have mentioned because it is not a matter of factual knowledge in the way that other sciences and other branches of philosophy or other branches of science take sometimes knowledge for its own factual nature, getting enough mathematics in order to solve mathematics, knowing a lot of accounts in order to solve accounting issues and to be a good accountant in a company. But sometimes you realize this accountant is not ethical, or this politician is not ethical. Something else is missing. So here we are looking at the ethics. It has to have some kind of determining nature of normative theories and applying these theories into practical moral problems. So in ethics, it's not about how much you know. It is about how much you practice. Actually, in philosophy, we have metaphysics, which is the high branch of knowledge where you study being qua being as in being. Then there is epistemology, where you study the theories of knowledge. How do you know what you know? How do you know even you know what you know? Or how do you know whether that source of knowledge you have is factual? But then we have to come from our epistemology, knowledge, into ethics. Ethics is our practical life. And that is why sometimes there is a matatu I know to Rongai written, your actions speak so loud, I cannot hear your words. Your words are an indicator of how much you know, but the actions is how much ethical or morally upright you are. So how should we live? These are the questions we tackle in ethics. Ethics deal with these questions at all levels. Its subject consists of the fundamental issues that bring practical decision. And its major concerns include, for example, the nature of ultimate value. What is it that is valuable in life? And the standards by which human actions can be judged right or wrong. You can tell somebody you are wrong, and somebody can ask you, on which ethical basis are you telling me I'm wrong? On which ethical principles am I wrong? Other questions of ethics are, shall we aim at happiness or at knowledge? Do you want to be happy or to know? Or virtue, or the creation of beautiful objects? And when we are choosing happiness, the other question is, if I'm choosing happiness, is happiness my own as person, or it's supposed to be a happiness for all? Can I be happy hurting the other person? Am I allowed to exercise my happiness by ignoring the other person? So we also ask questions like, what of the more particular questions that we face in the society? Who is a dishonest person? And why do we call him a dishonest person? Because he lacks the virtue of honesty. And what is honesty? Or issues of justice. Questions like, can we justify living in opulence, living in no riches, whereas in the same society or in the neighborhood somebody is dying because of lack of food? Which are the other issues that we can discuss in ethics? For example, is going to war justified? If we know there are likely innocent people who may die, can we go to war? Is that a just war? St. Thomas Aquinas spoke about the just war. Is the war good? Questions like, is it wrong to clone a human being? Cloning. If you want another Dr. James, can you clone my genes and make another like a little Dr. Jim without the normal process, Cloning, the issues of cloning. Or can we destroy human embryos in medical research? Can we use the fetus, the unborn children, to make medicine? Those questions are very difficult. And the questions of our obligations. What are our obligations, if any? What is our obligation to the generation of humans who will come after us, and to the non-human animals with whom we share the planet? And in this we bring the issues of the environmental ethics. This is why you saw the government 2 years ago, they were really demolishing houses that were built on the riparian land. That is 30 meters from the river. That land should be left idle, should be left there for environmental sake. Can we throw polythene paper all over? Those questions are part of our ethical principles. So now we are going to look at the basic ethical principles. And the expression basic ethical principles refers to those general judgments that serve as a justification for particular ethical prescriptions and evaluations of human actions. And when we come to human action, there are two types of actions. There's actions of man and human actions. Actions of man are those actions that happen to the human person involuntarily, like sneezing, like coughing, like the stomach making some noise. They are instinctive, and therefore nobody can hold you responsible for the actions of man. But human actions are those actions that come from the human being, from the human person, through reasoning. A human person is a substance, is a hylomorphic substance with the soul and the body, with the matter and form. This human person has the ability to make judgments. And therefore, if he makes judgments, then we know very well that the action that he makes in the right judgment, in the right perspective, using proper reasoning, he is entirely responsible for it. And that is why sometimes people who have mental issues, people who are psychologically imbalanced, even in the court of law, sometimes you realize the judge may not hold them culpable or hold them responsible for their actions. And it is very common in the law, in the courts, that somebody is taken for mental checkups so that you can know whether this person, what he did, was an act of man or a human act. When we come back from the break, we shall look at now these three basic principles. They are the principles that can guide you to be ethical. They are the principles that can guide you to live a morally upright life. And if you live your life making judgments from these three basic principles, there are only three, there are not so many. You realize most of your actions will be human actions. And you'll be able to live an ethical, a morally upright life. Let us meet after the break.
Capuchin TV, your Catholic identity.
Consolata Institute of Philosophy was founded in 1970. We have 50 years experience in teaching philosophical and religious studies, international and local languages. We take pride in our diverse students' body, which consists of lay people and those from 25 religious congregations from Africa and beyond. We have the only pure philosophy library in Kenya, with over 25,000 volumes and a well-equipped e-library accessible from our campus. Consolata Language Center, CLC, a department of CIP, has successfully trained students for the last 11 years since its conception by the Consolata missionaries. The center offers all international and local languages, which include English, French, Kiswahili, German, Italian, Spanish, Chinese, Portuguese, and Arabic. Moreover, we offer theological and Christian-oriented languages, which include Greek, Hebrew, and Latin, for those who have it as a requirement for their further studies in the respective areas of specialization. Other services offered at the center include interpretation, translation, editing, proofreading, and transcription. We offer well-elaborated certificate courses in interpretation, translation, and basic ICT training for those who may want to keep abreast with the rapidly digitalized world. For more details on admissions, applications, online chat and responses, visit our website on www.consolatainstituteofphilosophy.com and www.consolatalanguagecenter.co.ke. We provide hostels for gents and ladies, both religious and lay people. We offer services for conferences and seminars. Our multipurpose hall has a capacity of 800 seats. We also have an amphitheater whose capacity is 300 to 400 persons. Consolata Institute of Philosophy is located 500 meters into Seminary Road, off Magadi Road, on your way to Ongata Rongai from Nairobi. Our philosophy and religious studies intakes are every August, while that of the languages is continuous and flexible to respond to the client's needs and availability. The academic calendars are also available on our websites. For inquiries, compliments, feedback, and reservations, contact us on 020 4404 098 or 0719 32 8848 or 0725 726 054. At Consolata Institute of Philosophy, we offer the best of education at the demand of the contemporary world. Join us today for refined services.
Capuchin TV, a Catholic broadcasting ministry. Misa takatifu ya kila siku ni kama ifuatavyo: saa 1 kamili asubuhi, saa 7:30 mchana, saa 12 jioni na saa 2:30 usiku.
Go forth, the mass is ended.
Thanks be to God.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, tunakuenzi na kukudhamini.
Endelea kutazama Capuchin TV.
Hail, Holy Queen, Mother of Mercy. Hail, our life and sweetness and our hope. To you do we cry, poor banished children of Eve. To you do we send up our sighs, mourning and weeping in this valley of tears. Turn then, most gracious Advocate, your eyes of mercy toward us, and after this our exile, show unto us the blessed fruit of your womb, Jesus, O merciful, O loving, O sweet Virgin Mary. Amen.
To get Hail Holy Queen as your Skiza tune, send Skiza followed by code 738-10258 and send it to 811.
Capuchin TV, your Catholic identity.
So, welcome back, and we were discussing the basic ethical principles, and after giving a whole background of what ethics is and the questions of ethics, and also differentiating between the human action and the action of man, showing that the human action is the action that you are entirely responsible for it, because you did it with your right mind, judgment, and the action came from him. Acts of man, like coughing, nobody can hold you completely responsible for them. Of course, now if you cough in public without a mask or without covering your mouth, you can be held responsible. But not because of coughing, but the unethical behavior or not minding the person next to you. The first ethical principle is not a very complicated principle, yet is a very important principle, is the respect of persons. The first basic ethical principle in moral philosophy, in ethical philosophy, is respect of persons. Respect for persons incorporates at least two ethical convictions. Respect for persons. First, that individuals should not be treated as autonomous agents. They are not autonomous. Second, that persons with diminished autonomy are entitled to protection. You are not entirely free. You are part and parcel of a society. But then the second principle also enumerates that if there is a person in the society who has diminished freedom and autonomy, is entitled to protection. People who are disabled, people who have mental issues, people who are vulnerable, they need more respect. So the principle of respect for person has two different moral requirements. The requirement first is to acknowledge autonomy, and the requirement of protecting those who have literal autonomy. And when you are dealing with a person, just know the person is free. Is free. And to respect autonomy is to give weight to autonomous persons, respecting their opinions and choices, and refraining from obstructing their actions unless these actions are completely detrimental to others. So if somebody wants to cycle, must be given the freedom to cycle. If somebody wants to use a motorbike, must be given the permission to use the motorbike. He or she is a free agent, is an autonomous person, has the freedom. But there can be limits if it is detrimental for the others. We cannot drive the vehicles if we want. We have licenses, those who have licenses. But then you cannot drive when you are drunk. It's not good, because your actions is detrimental to the freedom of the other road users. So respect for the immature people, children, the minors, they are always protected. The under 18, or people who are incapacitated, people who have different physical inabilities. They require protection from each and every one of us and from the government also. They are not able to protect themselves. So, some persons are in need of extensive protection, and the extent of the protection afforded should depend upon the risk of the harm and the likelihood of benefit. That's why even we protect children, we protect the disabled. So the judgment that any individual lacks autonomy should be periodically re-evaluated and will vary in different situations. Who are these people who need special protections? The second principle, the first principle is respect for person. The second principle is beneficence. Beneficence. What does it mean? It means that persons are treated in an ethical manner, not only by respecting their decisions and protecting them from harm, but also by making efforts to secure their well-being. I think this is the work of each and every person. Beneficence. What is the well-being of this person? So such treatment falls under the principle of beneficence. Two general rules have been formulated by the ethicist as complementary expression of beneficent actions in this sense. The first one, do not harm somebody. For his own benefit, do not slap somebody. Do not beat somebody. And again, when you are acting, maximize the possible benefits of the person and minimize the possible harms. You know, there are times the principle of collateral damages. You cut a tree, but it can destroy the neighbor's maize. But you need to protect the person. You don't harm the person, and also minimize the possibility of harming and increase the benefits of the person. If the government would only apply some of these ethical principles, then most of the things done, most of the projects done are supposed to be done for the benefit of the people. And I think that is why even the change of constitution is all about. We are being told that the change of constitution will bring more money, machinery, will bring all those benefits. I don't know whether there are lack of benefits in it, but the idea is that everything that the government does should bring more benefit to the people and reduce the harm of the people. As with all hard cases, and different claims covered by the principle of beneficence may come into conflict. So now many people, they don't believe this change of constitution is for their benefit. Others, they believe it's for their benefit. I don't know where the great number is. It's only a referendum, it's only a voting that can help people to show through their voting what they believe. Does it give them more benefit or does it not give them more? Provided they have studied it. If they have not studied it, they just make decisions depending on hearsays. The last principle of ethics is justice. And this is the question of justice, is the sense of fairness and the distribution of what is deserved. An injustice occurs when some benefits to which a person is entitled are denied without good reason, or when some burden is imposed to the person unduly. You saw the old woman who appeared on television wanting to fight a Chinese girl. She was only crying because her benefits had been delayed. Justice delayed is justice denied. If the road passes your house and you are supposed to be compensated, you're supposed to be justly compensated as quickly as possible. If this money is put for you for many years, that is injustice. So even when it comes to remunerations, if somebody works for you and finishes the job, this person deserves his pay or her pay as promptly as possible for you to act justly. So justice is giving the person what we call fair distribution of what the person deserves. And therefore, to a conclusion, we see that there are three ethical principles that are very, very, very important in moral philosophy. The first one is the respect for the human person. Respect for the human person. The second one is beneficence. That whatever you do, whichever principles you promote, they are supposed to give more benefits to the human person. The prices of food, the prices of fuel, all these things, they are supposed to give more benefit to the person involved. And the last principle is justice. The good must be done, and must be done promptly. Remuneration must be done, and what is there must be fairly distributed to all the people. And I think this is where our politics in Kenya lies today, where many people feel that the national cake is not distributed equally. And that is why the principles and the laws and the constitution and all those things that are supposed to bring the idea that what belongs to Kenya as national good is for the Kenyans, regardless of where they were born and who was their father. Whether he is a poor person, has equal benefits to the goods of the nation, and even the rich has equal benefits to the goods of the nation. Till next week, goodbye, and may God bless you. Thank you.
Capuchin TV, your Catholic identity.